Why, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Anime Club. I'm Nick Knack. With me is the great Lord Lorne.
Woohoo!
Realm Shifter.
Yippee!
And Saki.
Hello.
So this week we watched Altair, A Record of Battle, or...
Shoukoku no Altair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting one because we had to hunt. Like, we had to forge for it like we did during the hunter-gatherer days.
I would like to complain here because when I first encountered this series, it was a manga. And I loved the manga, read the whole thing, right? And I mean like the whole thing, all 26 volumes.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that it had an anime. So when I first started reading it, it was back in like, I want to say like 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just ended last year. So I've been reading it for a while. I did not know that it got an anime until 3 years ago. Which was a long time after it got an anime.
Yeah.
And I partially blame that into the only streaming service that licensed it in the West was Amazon.
Yep.
And it was licensed on Amazon Prime for years and years and years, and that's why I originally watched it. And I was like, oh, I can absolutely put this into the hat because it's on Amazon.
And then it just was not on Amazon by the time we got around to it.
It is not available now in our region.
Don't you love streaming?
Mm-hmm.
That's really annoying, though, because Amazon was the only site that licensed it. And it's a recent change, too. Like it was definitely moved out of our region in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And it had been there for a long time. So that's really annoying to me.
Yeah.
I wonder why it was region locked, because like they were the only
We
one.
lost the rights in the U.S.
Amazon's been region locking a shit ton of stuff. I think they've been going through like rights renewals on a bunch of series that they had like signed off on for a while, because I think like 3/4 of what I've watched on there is now unavailable in our region.
They've also they also have been moving away from anime more or less for a while now.
Yeah,
Like
and
they had a few they actually shows contracted them the same way Netflix does.
They
that
do
they've
not anymore.
completely dropped that service.
Yeah, because Wotakoi was also through Amazon, and I don't know if it still is. But that's where Wotakoi was legally.
I think it's now
streaming.
on Crunchyroll because that's
Yeah.
where
I think it
remember
was
watching.
always on Crunchyroll though.
No, it was on Amazon because
Oh.
I watched it on Amazon Prime. It doesn't help that they're adding all of the channels on Amazon, and so like things are getting locked to channels now instead of like the service, and then the channels are locked. Like I had the BBC extension for a while, and half the shows I couldn't even access in the US, even though I was paying for the BBC extension, because they were like, you can only access this BBC channel content in Britain.
In fairness, part of why Amazon's anime plan failed is because they tried to subsidize the licensing they had to do by not making it part of Amazon Prime. It was a second subscription you had to pay for on top of Amazon Prime, but it was still with Amazon Prime. You couldn't just get it on its own.
Yeah.
It was really bad for a while, and they stopped it. But then they didn't want to put in the budget to keep licensing anime like that.
Yeah.
Like how much like additional cost was on
Like an extra $5.
Yeah, the extra channels are always like $5 to $9 additional.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like individually.
Isn't that like half the cost of our Amazon Prime?
If you have Student Prime, it's double the cost.
So we can agree, fuck
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyways, so yet another reason why I do not like Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
So Altair, A Record of Battles. It has been. I was having this discussion with Realm earlier, but it has been a hot minute since we just watched a historical fantasy.
Have we watched a historical fantasy before?
Yona of the Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah,
Yoda of the Dawn.
Yep.
I watch anything
This
else
one
with
feels
Altair?
more meticulous about trying to be not because it is. It's technically not.
This is not real life events, but it's literally set in the Turkey stratocracy.
Yeah, it's,
And it is they're using the spelling of Turkey that Turkey now uses for their own name.
it's heavily based off of.
It's
like,
Ottoman. It's
yeah,
early
yeah.
Ottoman. It's like, I think it's like 1400s Ottoman Empire in Turkey.
And it's not like fantasy where it has like any fantasy else. This is all
No.
like playing with
Politics,
grounded,
economy,
Yeah.
wars.
Like almost Game of Thrones-esque, maybe.
Kinda, yeah.
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 So even Game of Thrones is more fantasy than this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like straight down to...
Like this is just a medieval period piece.
Yeah.
It's not quite medieval.
Not quite, yeah.
But it's just Ottoman historical fantasy.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how did we feel about it?
I thought it was pretty good. I honestly enjoyed it for the most part. I at the very closer towards the middle of the end, Nick Knack will recognize this more, but I distinctly recognized Balaban, red-haired Sultan guy's voice actor. That's the same voice actor as Shinjiro from Persona 3 Reload. So I just could not unhear this one character from Persona whenever he was on screen.
It's funny because I was playing that part around the time I started the.
Also, I will say we did watch 12 episodes of a 24-episode series.
Yes.
So that we did stop right in the middle.
Yeah.
I tried to leave us off in a good place. But it
Left
was
us off at a cliffhanger
well,
instead.
yeah, but if I'd gone any further, I would have gone into the middle of an arc.
Mm-hmm.
Or had us left off with only 6 episodes to watch later.
Yeah.
It made sense.
Yeah.
You know, that's the unfortunate thing about a 24-episode series is
Yeah.
it's never going to divide perfectly.
Yeah.
So the best I can do is just try not to leave you in the middle of an arc.
I guess my turn.
Yeah.
I thought the beginning of the series was kind of its highlight. I thought some of the arcs dragged a little bit as time went on, because in the beginning of the series you had the 1 episode arc, 2 episode arcs, and I kind of appreciated it being bite-sized, political military.
Mm-hmm.
I think where things began to drag for me was especially towards the last arc. I think the final arc we were in, it almost felt like things were being dragged out a little too much for me.
Okay. Vaughn?
It was nice. However, I'm not that crazy about Ottoman history, so it's not the best, greatest thing ever.
Well, nothing in it is a one-to-one comparison.
Yeah, no,
it's
but
not,
it uses the.
It's the setting that you're getting, the fashion, the costuming, the area of the world, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a thing on that kind of stuff.
Are you not that big on it, or do you just not know very much about it?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know very much about the Ottomans, so.
Yeah.
If I was big on it, I would also try to know more about it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the show's fault that it's just set during an era and period that you're either not familiar with or isn't your favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure if we were watching something set during the Olmec period, you'd feel the same way.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I do think I really like this.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I think it's nice that there is an adaptation because for a long time I assumed there wasn't, even though there was, and so it's nice that there is one.
This honestly, so going into it before I actually started watching it, low key, this wasn't exactly what I was expecting it to be. Because at least just based off the character designs, what I was honestly expecting of it was more either in one of very two drastically different directions.
Mm-hmm.
It was either going to be something kind of Maggie, where
Okay. I can see that.
or this was going to be a shonen battle series that was like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Which honestly, I do love me a good Yu-Gi-Oh, and I do love me
Yeah.
fucking
Dark Magician.
yeah Magi.
Yeah, Magi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've seen both,
Or, yeah.
and so I get that comparison. I will say I do think the pacing in the manga is different
It
than
might
it is in
be.
the anime, but I don't know.
For me, I think the problem was there was a lot of plotting that either went nowhere or the payoff was so quick it didn't do.
Or the payoff hasn't happened yet, and you just
Well, I mean,
get to see
not the
it.
payoff. They were plotting this assassination of the sultans for a while now, and the sultans barely show up.
Well, yeah, because they can't just say, "Oh, we're gonna assassinate someone" and then do it.
Yeah, but I kind of
Yeah.
expected them to at least get to the wedding before the carpet was pulled out from under them. Because otherwise, we just spent multiple episodes building up this wedding.
Well,
that
obviously,
doesn't
you
happen.
don't track betrayals and assassination plots in courts of royalty across this time period because it is hilarious how accurate that is to.
They
you know.
literally had a cultural warfare where they go back to the one woman just to have her do a play. I feel like we didn't need that if they weren't actually going to make it to the wedding to even attempt the assassination.
Look, shit happens. History's wild that way.
I don't know why they made the plan, but we stuck on that plan for what? We spent an episode or two before they failed the plan.
Yeah,
before it even got started.
Because they really thought it was gonna go somewhere.
Which I don't mind, just cut out that episode or two in the middle.
Because, it's like real life, not everything goes according to plan.
Apparently, Knick-Knack just wants an idealized version of history.
No, I don't mind that it failed. I just wish they didn't drag out the planning thing.
Oh, so you just wish that, that everything happened, super fast.
If it was gonna fail anyways, and they didn't even...
They didn't know it was gonna fail in the beginning.
Well, even if it failed, it's like they didn't even approach success for it to feel like the setup was worth it.
Yeah, but it's not like they're seeing into the future. They make a plan, they plan, and someone's not coming down to tell them, your efforts will end in failure in 67 anime minutes.
I'm not questioning the logic of the series. I'm questioning the pacing of the series. It's different.
It's realistic, is what it is.
Okay, but I don't want to watch like a real life documentary of how things played out.
Excuse you, I love me some historical fiction
Especially when
documentaries.
things didn't actually play out like that.
I love me some historical dramatizations. That's my favorite thing.
I mean, I don't mind it. Sometimes I do wish to hit on 2 times speed.
Oh, here's another one when he said that I'm gonna get on a boat and go catch up and go to these pirate guys that they have. Were they pirates that were trying to bring in reinforcements to that one city? And then they don't even attempt to go to the boat because by then another boat makes it in and we're just going to go here. So it was just an excuse to get them on a boat in the first place, which did we really need to... I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of justifying things that didn't end up paying off.
I don't know. Maybe they felt the need to justify their decisions.
Just cut the justification out.
Then does it really... But then does it amount to anything substantial in the first place? If they don't try to justify it.
Yes, because that's these are still I still like the general bones of the thing. I still like the failed attempt at the assassination. I just don't like how much padding they put between it.
So what you're saying is that you don't like the fat.
Yeah.
Sorry, Knick-Knack. People in history were fat.
I mean, also my thing is he kind of got a bit too lucky, and sometimes it was God damn it.
Hey, sometimes people just get lucky, Vaughn. You should see some of the stories I've heard in history. Sometimes people just get friggin' lucky.
The Japanese Empire versus the Russian Empire, Battle of Tsushima.
Okay. And?
Wasn't that the Mongols?
No, I'm just remembering how crap the Pacific Squadron was in comparison to the newly built Japanese Squadron.
No, he means the Cursed Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
No,
before.
No. The Battle of Tsushima Straits, right?
Yeah.
That was the Mongols.
That wasn't the Mongols.
No, we're talking about something totally different.
No.
We're talking about warships.
Yeah.
A Russian fleet sent from the Black Sea that was supposed to go through the Mediterranean.
Logically, that would have been in the Russo-Japanese War, right?
Yeah, that would have been Russo-Japanese, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
It might have been drawn out. It wasn't the conflict center. That wasn't the point of the conflict.
That might have been it, yeah.
There might have been an attack on Japan in the middle of the conflict.
Yeah, that might have been it.
I mean, it would have been the battle that would have technically ended the...
Because the reason that the fleet set out from the Black Sea in Russia was because they were worried about Japanese U-boats.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we've jumped between 5 different wars.
Because I watched 4 documentaries on this one fucking Russian fleet. They were so cursed. This fleet, literally every single bad thing that could ever possibly happen to a military fleet happened to a military fleet. One ship just kept sailing off and returning randomly with no weapons left, telling the other ships, I just destroyed 200 Japanese U-boats.
Fucking nerd emoji right now, honestly.
It was bad. They literally, they saw a group of Dutch and British fishing trawlers, and they assumed it was Japanese U-boats, so they opened fire and created a political situation so bad that they weren't allowed to go through the Mediterranean and had to circle the tip of Africa.
They even started shit with England as well.
I said England and Dutch.
Yeah. Also, it was World War One. I was because there were U-boats during World War One as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But it was definitely one of the world wars. I knew that. But yeah, no, there was the cursed fucking squadron.
See, Seki, I think the main difference between me and you is I'm going to describe it through a Drake meme. It's basically like real history, nah. Imaginary history, that's my shit right there.
Can't remember all of American history. Can remember the entire extended multiversal timeline of fate.
Yeah, yep. My brain and my hyper specific interests.
I'm just saying, like, Vorn, people can get real fucking lucky in history. Like, that is an example of somebody getting real unlucky, but there are examples that go the other way.
I couldn't if you asked me to tell you like the fucking entire like history, I don't know, of like, let's say the early 13th century of Europe, I would fucking die. But if you asked me to tell you the lore of Dark Souls, I got you there.
No, I feel like I need to let someone else speak. I feel like I speak anymore, I'm gonna get punched.
So, on the topic of me not knowing that this existed for a hot minute, this was actually done by Studio Mappa.
I was wondering why the animation felt familiar.
Yeah, it was Mappa back in 2017? Yeah, 2017. Yeah. Which I think is just, how did I miss this, you know? Like, how did I think I might have missed it because when it came out, it was labeled in English a lot of the time. And I didn't know the title in English until I saw the anime, because I'd always just call it Shoukoku no Altair, because I read it on a Yoho and Fiddle DD site. Obviously, I was not buying this. This was not being produced in English for me to buy.
Yarr!
So, you know, that's great.
Yeah, because this would have been, what, you were reading at 2014 or so?
Yeah, 13. It started in 13 or 14.
Yeah, which, there was almost nothing being, like, officially released here in the States.
Yeah,
like
much.
nothing. Like you could scrounge whatever you get, and you also got like the big three at the time, which were like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece.
Yeah, which I will say, I don't have much on the person who did the music for this series, but I do have info on the director, who was the director for the original series of Ranma 1/2 and Rurouni Kenshin, and the 1999 Hunter x Hunter, and Get Backers, as well as Kyokara Mao. Let's see, one of the Darker Than Blacks.
Okay.
Kimi ni Todoke, Dororo, and Spy X Family. Yeah.
Some big names there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, couldn't find much about the music writer, but I did find a fair bit about the director. So that's what I know. This is of course originally a manga. Yeah. And it's completed, thank God. But yeah, it's 24 episodes, so it will go back in the hat to be pulled out again at some point in the unspecified distant future, I'm sure.
Season 25 right there.
Exactly.
Yep.
With our luck, yeah.
Honestly, we'll probably have completely forgotten by that point.
Hashtag just watch all 24.
Yeah, no.
Just a downer knick-knack.
Yeah. Harsh in the mood, man. I love this series.
It's a good series.
I mean, it's alright.
It's not bad.
Look, I'm really into historical drama and historical fiction as something to enjoy, right? Whether it be about an actual event that happened or like this sort of a fantasy and fiction version of that era and what was happening in that era, because this is not based directly on a particular ruler or time in history, but I do enjoy the series as they are, right? And this does remind me a lot of shows like Yona of the Dawn, Arslan Senki, which I also watch. Like I do watch a fair amount of historical fiction anime. Like I watched the Crow in the Palace, Karasu, and I've seen Otome Yokai Zakuro, which is like a fantasy post-Meiji period. Obviously, Rurouni Kenshin is historical fiction.
Yeah.
And so on.
You know why this episode, or not episode, this series might not have clicked with me as much as something like Yona at the Dawn did? I think I didn't get a good sense of the main character having a solid goal. Because he did have a goal.
Oh.
But his goal amounted to Muhammad. His goal, and I actually remember, I remember his name. His name. But also they say it like 50 billion times.
Yeah.
But his goal just amounts to stop war, or don't allow war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It felt like because it's a goal, all right, but it contributes to him feeling more like he's just getting. Once he loses political power as Pasha, he just kind of gets dragged from place to place. It doesn't feel like he has as much agency as he did early on.
I really didn't feel that, honestly. And I think this is probably where I came and enjoyed this as opposed to you, because I noticed that we do tend to share similar opinions, but I think this is the main difference. I didn't feel that he was getting dragged from place to place. I feel like he was going on a journey for this purpose because essentially it's a journey of self-discovery for him. Because we understand that he's rather young and inexperienced in this regard.
And his inexperience is essentially what led to him getting demoted. And so this feels like a experience building. Like moving around, meeting people, like actually experiencing the people that he's trying to work with. So that he has like a stronger base on which to return to power in.
I can see that, but for me, it just feels like it's I can't go out of one arc and be like, oh, we're going into this arc. It's like it's just place to place after that. Whereas before, like when he was Pasha, it felt like when he went to a place, it was because he made a decision on what he wanted to get done. Yeah, I don't know. The loss of agency to me just feels a little bit. That's around where I started slipping from the series, because it also means that he has a lot less hand in the politics going on, and that was somewhat of what
I don't think he
endeared
needs
me
to
early
have.
on.
I don't think he needs to have a lot of a hand in the politics that are going on in the show, though. Just because there's so many other players that are already in a position of power that make things happen. This is kind of something that we get already with shows of this kind. So it's really just it was a non-issue. I can see where you're coming from, but I just didn't get this problem that you had with the show personally.
I don't know. I can maybe see where you're coming from, but at the same time, there's sort of he's very single-minded at the beginning of the series. Like he has power, and he is using that power directly to attempt to accomplish his goal in sort of the most linear way that he thinks he can. And then that doesn't, essentially in the end, that doesn't work out for him because he gets demoted.
Yeah.
And I feel like at that point, part of the journey is the realization that he's not going to be able to just linearly and single-mindedly force through what he wants with brute force and political might, because he doesn't have brute force and political might. Like, he needs to learn.
But that all happens in like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah, and then
the rest of the series, it feels like he's extremely static with not.
Well, the rest of the series you've seen so far.
Yeah, that I've seen only the first 12 episodes, but like it doesn't feel like he's changed much as a character since that one realization in episode 4, and it feels like he's gone from not properly going about politics to just not touching the politics nearly at all.
Keep in mind, Nick Nack, did you change overnight from some of your high school opinions to the opinions you may hold now?
No, but in a book, I expect people to change faster than I do.
I don't know. This was 26 volumes.
How many volumes did this adapt?
I don't know, but the whole series is 26.
Although I would actually like probably something where like he kind of remained in politics, but he got demoted to like a low level.
That's what I thought was going to
really
happen.
nice.
Yeah.
Because like then you would see his idealism clashing with like those who have to be realistic and get nitty gritty.
Well,
This is just his adventures.
I did like that he got demoted. In fact, I thought that was actually a very cool move on the series' part. I just don't feel like it was used to the extent it could have been, or that they changed kind of the way the show was the way the show was laying out altogether around that point.
I think maybe this is where some of the historical context comes in, is that, you know, once his political rank was removed from him, he couldn't really continue to participate in politics. Like, that was not really an option for him. They didn't demote him to a lower rank. They removed his rank entirely.
Yeah.
And so he had to leave. He had to go do something else entirely. And he doesn't, to be quite honest, he doesn't have the economic and financial power behind him to be like a merchant political power at the moment. So he really doesn't have a way to exert any control on politics unless he is in a position of political power.
Plus,
and when that is removed from him, it does remove his autonomy to act directly towards his goal. But what I read it as him doing is he spends the next chunk of episodes, right? Obviously, of what we have not seen yet as a completed series, because there's another 12 episodes to watch, right? And he spends the rest of what we've seen building up what will eventually become a base for more stable political power.
Maybe, I don't know, just the direction they took him just wasn't as interesting at all to me. Like, it wasn't as, it didn't keep my attention.
I think as well, it's kind of it was also maybe a bit of a blink and you miss it detail, but during the, and I could be wrong on this, but I think whoever the king was, who was like talking to him in like that little roundabout speech or whatever, said it was you were essentially exiled. I don't remember if he said that specifically, but I think he was like actively like exiled from the kingdom. So that's why he couldn't even participate in the thing, even if he wanted to.
I think what they said was, you are now currently the servant of another
Oh
Pasha.
yes, he was. Yes, he's now the
So,
servant.
yeah.
He was now the servant of the other pasha that had originally.
And then he was sent to
taken
go
him.
connect with
Yeah.
the spy network.
And then that pasha sent him to go then connect on the journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another problem with what I feel is like, he kind of doesn't get, like, he doesn't change too much in his idealism, like, after even these big events happen to him. And it's like, I expect
Because
maybe one or two,
but
like,
I don't
maybe slight changes or really thoughts.
But his ideal desire, right, is perpetual peace, right? It would feel wrong if that changed. Like, if he was just like, I see now the only thing that can be achieved is temporary peace. I will quest for that. I would genuinely like him and the series less. I think he does need to keep that idealistic desire for perpetual peace to make his character work. Because that's the whole driving point of his character, is he wants perpetual peace. What can change, and should be shown changing, is what he'll consider doing to achieve that. Not the changing of his actual goal.
So I agree there, but when you're talking perpetual peace, I feel like he should have been, even if he doesn't downright change, he should have been challenged, so he had to refine his belief. Not change it, but refine it.
Or like, maybe even like, okay, in the short term, like, I gotta make sure that none of us are gonna fight to then like think long term, but like, he's always just thinking long term, which is kind of pointless in a lot of his situations.
But once again, if you remove that idealism, who is he as a character except for another man grasping for political power to serve his own needs? He needs the idealistic perpetual peace notion.
Oh, that I agree with. Like,
he needs that. Like, he has to have that
because
to make
otherwise
him
then
who he is.
has no identity as
he has no
Yeah.
actual desires, because everyone wants peace, because peace is economic prosperity. You don't want anyone to rebel against you. You don't want people to cheat you out of your money, which means by and large you want peace of a sort. You just want self-serving peace.
That's why I think, like, early on his best interactions are with that other pasha that he ultimately ends up serving, because every single time he interacts with that pasha, you get the sense that no, he is kind of wrong in how he went about it. Like, he did achieve something that pasha wouldn't have achieved, but that pasha had the better political sense. And then he stops interacting with that pasha for the bulk of the series.
Yeah.
But I think that was his best character interaction, was with that other pasha, because he maintained his idealism, but it contrasted and was sharpened by challenged and sharpened by someone who did not maintain that idealism, but still held the same general goal.
Do we have anything else to discuss as far as the characters go?
The contrast between this and our discussion on
Dangers.
No offense to Dangers in My Heart, but Dangers in My Heart was not a hard-hitting
story.
It's a very simple story, and also our brain cells were apparently lacking.
In my opinion, Shoukoku to Altair can really be looked at in a lot of different lenses when you look at the overall politics, because the point of the series is sort of the political end game, like what's going to happen to the empire and to Mahmud by the end of it. Mm-hmm. And so you can look at that at like, what is he doing economically? What is he doing like militarily? What is he doing politically? Like what is he doing socioculturally and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot you can discuss, especially when it gets into just like the nitty gritty of all those different things, you know?
Yeah. I mean, whereas with something like Dangers, it's mostly
it's a high school rom-com.
It's a high school rom-com.
Yeah.
It's very light.
And your mainly discussion is going to be characters and other moments that you liked. Not really, not very in depth. It's a very simple series in comparison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe Waifu Wars next?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Waifu Wars. Waifu Wars. Waifu Wars. Knick-knack.
Was her name Sasha? The girl from that first
Shara.
Shara, thank you.
Yeah, Shara.
Yeah, her. I really liked her character in those early episodes, and I did appreciate her cameo later on. Mm-hmm. I thought she just brought an energy. She brought the energy to the scenes she was in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll go next. Iskandar, his pet eagle, Mahmud's pet eagle.
Yeah, Iskandar.
Yes.
I love Iskandar. He's great.
Yeah.
For me, it would have to be that spy master. I kind of like him.
Suleiman?
Yeah. Now Seki, reveal.
I actually really like Mahmud Pasha. And I mean, you know, I'm obviously
there's
looking
some
at
bias here, I know.
I'm looking at that with the lens of like I've read the manga, but I do really like Mahmud Pasha. You know, I think he's interesting. I think he's a driven character who kind of has these incredibly lofty goals that I, don't think he's gonna accomplish. But hats off to him for even trying, because so many people don't. I don't know. Yeah. I like his idealism.
Yeah.
And he treats his ego well. Iskandar would have been my second favorite character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like some of the other Pashas, though. Like, I love watching all 13 of them interacting with one another.
Those were the best scenes
Zaganos.
from those early episodes.
Yeah.
It was like just seeing the politics.
Yeah, like I didn't like him at first, but like I really took like a liking to him as the
Poison
series.
Zaganos?
Yeah, Zaganos. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like it when all the Pashas get together, because I think it's just really interesting to see so many people of varying ages and perspectives. So like a lot of them are coming from different generational and sort of outlook backgrounds, and so when they're all talking together, and there's a lot more scenes in the manga of them having discussions, it makes for some really interesting kind of behind the scenes political commentary.
Yeah. Also, OP and ED, I mean, they were there. I did recognize the OPs. I think it might be the same band, but I could be wrong. I think they did the same one as the Black Butler OP. Yeah.
I actually did like the OP. I don't have much to say about the ED.
Yeah.
It didn't really stick to me hard, but I do like the OP. I think it was fun.
Yeah. I mostly just that caught my attention. It was like, oh, this sounds like the same singer as the one for Black Butler. So yeah, just a little pickup there.
Yeah.
I got really nothing to say about either of them, really.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Any other recommendations? I mean, we've listed them off.
No. I've actually got a pretty interesting one here, and I think that some of you might not agree with me if I don't explain my reasoning. But 86.
Oh,
I can see it.
You know, well, I can see it honestly.
Also, partially because, like I said, I've read the entire manga, right?
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of the other empires and kingdoms, and especially.
Did you mean light novel?
Sorry. Yeah.
Oopsies.
No, I read the manga of Shoukoku no Altair!
Oh, okay.
I was talking about Shoukoku no Altair.
So that's a Nick. Alright, smack on the back of the head.
Anyways, but a lot of the interaction between the different empires and the way that the different empires are represented reminds me of the ways that they're represented in 86. And then I also feel like there is some similarities between 86 Season 2 and Mahmud Pasha's story.
Honestly, I actually think there's more similarities in Season 1 Mahmud Pasha's story. But I see it. I did see 86, I do agree with you, but I actually go the other way. I think Season 1 with Lena trying to get things
yeah,
done.
no, it's Lena. That's
Yeah.
it's Lena and Mahmoud Pasha. That their stories are very similar. And then, like I said, Arslan Senki, Yona of the Dawn, Snow White with the red hair.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole host of like historical fiction and historical fantasy anime that are really good and enjoyable to watch. I just watched Karasu no Kyokai, which was The Crow in the Palace, and I also saw Apothecary Diaries recently, and those were both really good. And I have at least a few more period drama style shows in the hat. Not like this exactly. I've got a couple Japanese ones in the hat that I've put in, like Hakuoki, Demon of the Fleeting Blossoms, and some other stuff. So.
Have you seen Vinland Saga at all?
Yes.
Would you say that this is like kind of similar in that way, or not exactly? Yeah.
I could see bringing. I would suggest Vinland Saga to anyone who is looking for historical fiction, but I don't think that necessarily this and Vinland Saga are super close.
To my understanding, the tones are very different.
Yeah, yeah, because this is much more of this is a political intrigue happening in this part of the world at this time, where Vinland Saga is much more let us create a new society and people and support. There's not so much a whole lot of political stuff going on as there is just like the development of a group of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got two. Amaranti on the Sky and The Legend of Legendary Heroes. So yeah.
Sayun Koku Monogatari, Cloud Color Palace. Also, another show that was hosted on Amazon and I believe is no longer available in our region. But it is in the hat, so if it comes out, you'll have to watch it somehow. I think it's on YouTube. But Sayun Koku Monogatari, or the story of Sayun Koku, or the Cloud Color Kingdom or something. Kingdom of the Seven Color Clouds. I've seen it written with like 7 different names. Because some people choose to translate Sayun Koku, and then some people just translate the Monogatari and leave Sayun Koku as the name. So that's why you get like Cloud Color Kingdom. Yeah.
Well, time to ride the 7 seas then, if we do.
Yeah, drink up me hearties, yo-ho. Yo-ho, a pirate's like for me.
Any more
Do you have any
recommendations?
recommendations?
Not really, actually. 86 is actually the only one off the top of my head I can think of that kind of follows this.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you kind of like that aesthetic of the kind of Ottoman Empire era clothing, you could also watch Maggie.
Magi shares a setting.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like any connections to setting. I don't watch as many historic period pieces.
I watched Magi and it does share a setting. I'm sure there's a couple others that I just don't remember right now because historical fiction's a pretty large sort of genre. But I'm pretty happy about this.
Yeah.
So, do we know who's technically going next?
Let's see.
This was a rando, right?
Was it? So who goes next?
Wait.
Because
mine was N. Yeah,
So-
that's correct. So
would it be?
it's going back to the bottom after rando, so it would be born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I thought.
So, the next person to either draw or pick an anime from the hat is gonna be Vorn. So
Yukikaze.
Yukikaze. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I've heard of Yukikaze
Is it
before.
on?
I showed you it, I'm pretty sure, and so yeah. Do you want me to pause recording so you can go watch the trailer?
Nah, we haven't done that in a while.
No.
Okay.
Well, it depends because oh god.
It's 5 episodes.
Wait, what's the anime called?
Yukikaze. Battle Angel Yukikaze? Probably.
Is it like a jet fighter anime?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a different thing.
Thank God.
What? What the heck did you go look at?
Nothing, not a thing.
Also, I think this is going to be another case of Yar Har Har.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because
'Cause
this is a 2000 series anime.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 episodes, really short, very nice.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
No, that's
I
not
did
what you pulled up. What you
Thank
pulled up
God.
was a porno, I think.
What the hell?
Okay.
I'm curious.
Google Yukikaze on your fucking Google search board.
This is what exactly pops up for me.
Okay, so that's what popped up for me. And then what I did was I went to images.
Ah,
Nice.
nice.
I'm not wrong here. This is not my
No.
fault. Click images.
Missed train girls.
No, I get it. I know what happened there. I'm 99% sure I know what happened
This
there.
seems like it's from a gotcha game, actually.
Yeah, I got. Which one? Nipples, yes.
I'm almost 100% sure it's a design from a hentai, like an actual hentai.
It's not. This is just actually a gotcha game of some kind.
Probably.
It's called the Maho Kaijo series.
It's called Miss Train Girls.
I don't even want to freaking know what the heck this is.
Well, listen,
Well,
I think
never
this is a good
It's
place.
called-
Let's go ahead and stop this here, guys. We'll be back next time with the Yukikaze anime that Vaughn was talking about. Try harder, everyone.